All right, today we got our Ninja Foodi, and this is our first cook. So what else better than to cook than a whole chicken? We're going to be doing the pressure cooking, and then we're going to follow up with the air fryer so it gets all golden looking and stuff. We're going to loosely follow the directions that Ninja gives us to do it. We might make minor modifications, but that's what we can do, right? Because it's us. So we're going to see how well it turns out, and if it does work, it's going to turn out awesome, and then we're going to eat it, and we're just going to be happy. So that's called TenderCrisp, where you do both methods, the pressure cooking followed by the air fryer. So let's see how that actually works. So join us today as we cook a whole chicken in the Ninja Foodi. All right, we got a couple of things we need to do. We need to get some liquid and flavorings in here. We need to get some flavorings in the chicken. We need to cook it. So we're going to tackle these issues one at a time. For us, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put some seasonings into the chicken. We're not going to use any aromatics like lemons and stuff because we don't have any, and I really don't. So we're going to use Fox Point from Penzeys today. If you're not familiar, here in the U.S., there's a place called Penzeys. They're pretty fresh. We have a store that's local, and we just really like the stuff. It's pretty tasty. This is what Fox Point is. It's one of their seasonings. And if you don't have access to them, you can get some of these ingredients and just make your own. So it has salt, it has shallots, has chives, garlic, onion, and green peppercorns. So when I pretty much open it, you know, I smell pretty much onions / shallots. You know, I mean, can I really go and say, ooh, garlic? I don't know. It just smells good. So if you have some of those ingredients, by all means, throw it in there. If you have thyme, if you have rosemary, you can use those. It's really up to you. If you have barbecue rub, throw it in there. A lot of times that's what we do. We'll get seasoned salt, or we'll get Miss Dash. Whatever you have that you like, throw it in there. Anything is better than nothing, right? So in this case, I'm going to use about a teaspoon, more or less, of some of this Fox Point. I don't know. Make sure I don't waste it here. And we're just going to go ahead and throw it in there. All right. Spread it around for love. So. All right, that's good enough. And then the next step, of course, is we're going to go ahead and throw it into the basket that we're going to put in here. All right, I forgot to tell you that this is a chicken. I don't know. We got this at a club store. Two chickens. I think this is maybe around 5 pounds, maybe 4.5 pound whole chicken. We brined it. We did a quick brine, and we can put a link to that if you want. My quick brine that's good for chicken and pork chops. So I did maybe a 1/2 cup of kosher salt with a 1/2 cup of sugar. In this case, I use powdered sugar because it kind of stirs well without having to heat up the water. And then I think it was in maybe a quart, maybe 6 cups of water with some ice. And I just basically did the chicken for maybe 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. And then I rinsed it, patted it dry and everything. And it's been sitting out in the refrigerator until we're ready to do this. So you don't have to trust the legs if you don't want to. The instructions call for it. It seems to fit in here. Maybe if you're cooking a bigger chicken that's sticking up, then maybe you would have to do that. So I think at this point, we're close to being ready to putting them in the pot. All right, the instructions call for adding a 1/4 cup of water, a 1/4 cup of honey, and a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And like I previously said, we don't have lemon, so part of that's not going to work. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use 1 cup of Better Than Bouillon chicken broth. So we're going to go and add that in. We don't think that that's enough to cause any problems. And we typically use chicken broth anyways, anytime that we pressure cook, especially with chicken. We are going to use some leftover Fox Point. I previously measured out about a tablespoon total, and I put about 1/2 of that into the bird. So the other 1/2, maybe a teaspoon and a half or so, it's just going to go in the liquid. So there we go. So now we're ready to put the bird in. And we have the bird already in the fryer basket here. So let's go ahead and lower him in there. He fits and he's in there. See, he's happy. So now we're going to put the lid on. So we have this little arrow thing there and we have it there. So we're going to go ahead and put it down on there and go. All right, so now he's locked. Over on the other side of the pressure cooker, we have the vent. Over here it's seal, which is where we want it to be. The opposite is over here vent, but we'll do that later. For right now, have it over where it says seal. All right, we're gonna plug this in now. There's Foodi. And we're gonna hit the pressure button a couple of times until it comes up and says high. So we're gonna hit once, hit it again, and he's on high. We're gonna adjust the time for 22 minutes in this case. And that'll do it. And then we're gonna hit the start button. And it's gonna go ahead and come up to pressure, and then in 22 minutes, it'll count down and then we'll do a release on this. All right, the countdown is almost complete. In a few seconds, the 22 minutes will be up. And there we are. So we're gonna do a natural release, which in this case means we do nothing. So for the next 5 minutes, and you can see it's counting up, it's gonna be on keep warm. So it's gonna apply a little bit of heat to the chicken to try to keep it at a safe temperature, but it's not really sitting there trying to boil water and maintain pressure. And after 5 minutes, we'll then do a manual release. All right, this thing has been, I don't know, natural releasing for maybe 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and take care of this puppy. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn him off. Doink. And let's go ahead and hit the vent on this. Right now, this bad boy is over on seal. Let's knock him over the vent. Whoa! Kind of kicking stuff over. And we'll be able to open this in a second or two when that little red button drops. And it just dropped. So that's pretty fast. So let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. All right, we're gonna remove the lid. Yay. We'll drain that. All right, let's go ahead and get some stuff on this bird here. So we have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil that we put a little bit of Miss Dash in there. I like Miss Dash because Miss Dash has lots of different flavors and stuff in there, and it doesn't have any salt. I don't want salt because we already brined the bird, and I really don't want any of that to impact this. So we're just gonna go ahead and brush what we can here. That in there. All right, now that we have the seasoning and the oil on the bird, we're going to go ahead and close the air fryer lid. And then on the control panel, we're going to hit the air crisp button. We hit it twice. It's now asking for the temperature. We're going to bump it up to 400. And we're going to set the time for 8 minutes. Knock that down a bunch. And now we're going to hit the start button. We're going to cook it for the 8 minutes, and we will be able to add extra time, 5 or 10 minutes as necessary for desired level of crispiness. All right, 8 minutes is up. The controls have flipped over to cool. We have a sizzling going on in there, but it's kind of like a light brown. It's not really crispy. The skin, I don't know. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a little bit more time. All right, we've run the air fryer for 8 minutes total on top of the initial 8 minutes that they recommended. So it's been 16 minutes in there. And you can definitely see it has started to brown. We got a bunch of brown there, a little bit there, a little bit there, a tiny bit on the legs. So it has improved. So in our case, 16 minutes and not the 8 is what we're happy with. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the bottom and flip it if we need to. All right, we flipped the bird, and the camera is kind of showing these areas as being yellow, but really on the bottom, I only have a little bit of brown right here where the spoon's pointing. That's it. Everything else, this whole area is pasty, this is pasty. It's really not appetizing on this end at all. So we're going to go ahead and run maybe 5 minutes, see if we can get that a little prettier looking. All right, the 5 minutes is up, and we got some sizzling action here. We got a little bit more of a color over here, and a little bit there, and a little bit here. So it does look a little better. So let's get this on a board and take a look at it. All right, it's time to cut this baby up, right? So we can see it did a decent job on the top. So we're just going to go ahead and cut some of this. And this is pretty tender here. In fact, the breast, let's just go ahead and cut him down there. And of course, there we go, he's off. I mean, I can just look right here and it's just juicy. I don't know if you can see that, but it's tons of juice right down. So I would say it definitely did a good job there. Let's go ahead and cut part of this leg off here. I know there's a magic place down here. You should be able to cut it, and there we go, done. Get him on my plate as well. So I think this did a decent job on the surface. Let's go ahead and take a bite here. So I think the brining helped, of course, as it usually does. I have a little bit of salty taste, probably because of the brine, because I didn't really add salt other than the chicken broth had salt in it. But that never came into contact unless the steam counts, right? I don't taste one single spice on here. I think that the between the Fox Point and the Mrs. Dash, I think that all helped. But it tastes really good. It's got a good chicken taste, as Amy would refer to, because she's so used to eating breast and it has one flavor, but then when you eat the dark meat, it has a slightly different flavor. But I usually like dark meat, and this is really good stuff. To me, it's incredibly juicy. I'm going to take a quick bite of the breast just to compare that. And skin is crunchy. The meat is juicy, flavorful. So I'm happy with the results. This bird here wasn't crisp or browned at all on the bottom. In 16 minutes of air frying time, the bottom was not touched at all, even with the little holes. So the airflow, I have no idea. So the jury is out on that whole procedure. 22 minutes plus heating up time to cook the bird to a safe temperature is great. It takes an hour in the oven, or an air fryer can take 45 minutes. To add another 16 minutes and then optionally another 5 to get the bottom done, you're almost back into oven time. So that's the part I don't quite understand. What I do like about it is, compared to our QVC Cooks Essentials, which is a 5-point-something quart, it's wide, but it's not that deep. So it's good to put a lot of things in there. But our previous bird was too close to the heating element. And if you saw that video, we had aluminum foil on the top to prevent it from burning. And we had some sugar, I think, in the barbecue rub, and that's ultimately what scorched. We didn't cook with sugar at all on this one. We didn't use butter, so we didn't have any burning. But I think the heating element was far enough away because I think it's this deep. So in that sense, it did good. This 4.5, almost 5-pound bird fit in the basket good, stayed away from the heating elements, nothing got burned or scorched. I give that a thumbs up. So overall, I think to use the pressure cooker, I think it did a good job. We've never really pressure cooked chicken before. We've only air fried them and cook them in ovens, of course. And then to air fry it after that, all in the same unit, didn't really have to do too much to it. That is convenient over having two different things. So we're going to do more tests, of course, and we're going to bring you along for the ride. And we'll see if I can learn to love the Foodi. Right now, I like it, but I'm not sold on it just yet. Amy brought up a good idea here. She says, the fact that we brined it, did that make the skin rubbery? And then that led to potential browning issues? And I told her no, for one specific reason, and that is I gave this ample time in the refrigerator where it was exposed to the dry refrigerator air to dry out. Yes, brining chicken, the skin gets wet, of course. It will be rubbery. And when you want to get a nice brown, the skin has to be dry. The only liquid we put on this, besides steaming it, of course, was a little bit of oil. And that can work against it. But it was sizzling. The air fryer portion of this, the oil was sizzling and everything. So that was good. So I think that did fine. I don't think the brining had any negative impacts on this. So for us, I like it. I think it did a decent job. I think the basket design might have a little limitation on how much air circulates around it. And flipping of the bird is a little part of that. So if you don't mind that if needed, you know, then that's part of it you live with. I'm sure it cooks other things fine, and we'll find that out. So stay tuned as we try many more tests in this. If you like this video, subscribe to us below, leave a comment and a like, and go to our website at amylearnstocook.com. We're also on Pinterest and Twitter at Amy Learns to Cook, and we're on Instagram at Cookin' with Amy. Bottoms up, boo-boo. Ah!
Ooh, that's good.
Here, boo-boo.
Tasty.
And there you have it, folks. Amy says tasty.